Hey there, YouTube. Alright, the wife and kids are gone for the evening, and so now I am a bachelor for the night. So, what do I get to do? Well, I spent my night grilling dead things, drinking beer, playing video games, and I figured, hey, while I'm at it, I haven't done videos in quite a while, minus the one I did the other day for my opinion on helping for the weight gain in IT. If you haven't checked it out and you're having some weight issues where being in IT, I know how that all is. I've been in this for almost 10 years. I might want to check that out, give a little bit of advice there. Anyway, so a couple beers in, I figured, hey, let's do some videos. So this one I thought is kind of important. If you have the old lab book from the CCNP route, I believe that was 642-802, I believe. That would be Lab 2.5. It's EIGRP Authentication and Timers. I think this one is rather important because of the fact if you go into one of these route exams or maybe even T-shoot, they might throw it at you. If you have some timer issues, you can have some real big issues with your adjacency staying up. And so you'd be scratching your head looking at it, it's like, well, my networks are correct and I have the interfaces correct and I don't know what's going on. You got to look at those hello and hold timers on it because, say for example, if you have, say router 1 here is set to your normal 5-second hello and 15-second hold timer, and this one's set up to a 60-second hello, then the hold timer is going to expire way before this one even sends a hello packet. So you're gonna you might get an initial adjacency and then it's going to drop until 60 seconds from now. This one's going to, or I guess it'd be 45 seconds if you want to do math. I went to public school, so yeah. 45 seconds later, it'll send a packet out, and then it'll get a JC back up, and then 15 seconds later, it's going to go down again, and you're going to constantly get a JC going up and down. And, that's fun on production environment. So let's not do that. I'm one that typically likes to keep the timers to where they are. 5 and 15 I see no problems with, and Cisco is smart enough to say, hey, low bandwidth links such as frame relay if you're unlucky enough to still be using those. I'm going to change those over to 60-second timers because Cisco knows, hey, low bandwidth, putting hello packets every 5 seconds down that, it's going to screw with some things and it's going to slow down your link and then everyone's going to be unhappy. So they know better and they change your timer so you're not saturating your bandwidth link. So the only reason I could see them using these hello timers and changing them is now that EIGRP is pseudo open standard for other vendors to be able to use EIGRP. Maybe someone else, if HP or whomever decides to utilize a little bit of EIGRP into their code, they might make their hello timers 30 seconds by default instead of 5. So then you're going to have to go through and either adjust the Cisco devices or adjust the HPs to use a lower hello interval. Otherwise, you're going to have some problems. If you don't know what I mean, I'll show you here. So right now, here's our neighbor. Right now, here's our topology. This is from the Lab 2.5. Right now, all these other links are down, so we just have the serial link on between the S00s between routers 1 and router 2. We're using the 172.16.12.0/29. And right now, it's a 15-second hold timer, and we'll do a show IP EIGRP 100 interfaces detail on S00 so we can see your hello. That is set to 5 seconds. So everything is kosher. That is the default. I haven't altered with it before starting this, or well, I have, but I reverted it back because I was playing around. And so let's say, for example, we have our, go back to router 1, so you can see router's bouncing around a little bit. We'll clear that out so we have a clean slate here. All right, so router 2. I'm going to go into our interface S00 because we want to change hello and hold timers. You do it on the interface. So we're going to do a IP hello interval EIGRP, an autonomous number, which is 100 in this case for me. And we're going to change that. We can do anywhere between 1 and 65,535. And we don't need to go that extreme. Let's just do 45 seconds. Alright. So now we wait. Should only be 15 seconds, give or take. And we're going to lose our adjacency. There it goes. So, and you see it's not just down, it is actually expired because it has gone past the 15-second hold time. And then it sent a packet after the 45 seconds. Now it's up with new adjacency. Now at 15 seconds, it's going to give me another holding time expired. So the whole time, figure you have people trying to work and they're able to get online for a minute, and then it drops again. And then here in a few more seconds, they can get out again. And it's going to drop again. And you get the picture. So, yeah, that sucks. So then, like I said, I got a feeling that Cisco might throw that, maybe not necessarily the new CCNP route. I believe that's 300-101. But I could see them throwing it at you in the T-shoot exam. Constantly, having an adjacency flapping. Flapping, not fapping. And so you have to go in there and just adjust your timers. And so we can go back to our conft interface S00 if I can type. I've had too many beers. And we'll do IP hello interval EIGRP 100. We'll go back to 5 seconds. Nope. So now it's up, new adjacency. So then we'll wait a few seconds to see if that completely goes away. Full time 11. So maybe I didn't shut down the link to the F00. Oh well, no big deal. Who cares? So far, holding time hasn't expired, so that is fixed. So that is your timers. Like I said, you can adjust them. I highly discourage it because you can run into issues like this. And like I said, Cisco's smart enough to be able to do this automatically. So it's 5 and 15 for your higher speed links, and then your low speed painful links like frame relay. They change it, I believe, to 60 seconds. So let's move on. The next thing was the authentication. So this comes in handy if you are doing stuff with sending your eGRP to your ISP, and eGRP is traversing over your ISP, kind of like your MPLS, I guess. So if you're not keeping the eGRP local and then doing a point-to-point link or something like that, to where you're not relying on the ISP to handle your eGRP, then that you're going to need to do some authentication on there to keep somebody out in the quote-unquote cloud that everybody talks about and doesn't know what it is. So you want to keep people from altering these eGRP, possibly getting into your tables and sending some bad packets and causing some issues, or taking your whole network down because they're either altering the packets, sending them elsewhere, or sending down adjacency notices or something like that to take down the network. So a lot of bad things can happen to that when you get bad people messing with your eGRP packets coming through your internet connection. So what I need to do is we'll go back into our interfaces here, verify which ones I shut down. Alright, 00, go back. Okay, those are all up on that one. So I guess I just shut them down on router 2. Let me bring those back up. Alright. So those are back up and happy. We show IP EIGRP 100 neighbors. Yep. Okay, then 001, 10113, 111. Alright, so we're all back up. So let's place some authentication on this. And like your hello and hold timers, this is done on the interface itself and not in the router config mode. So we are in, what interface is this? S01. So we'll start out with S01, why not, since we're already in here. And what you do is IP authentication, keychain, EIGRP 100, and let's name this my keys. And IP authentication mode EIGRP 100, and you have only thing you get is MD5. Not the greatest thing, but beats a blank. Alright, so now we do this on our, and you can see we're going to lose an adjacency because the other side doesn't have the key. Alright, so now we need to do the same thing on interface S00. We're going to do IP authentication, keychain, EIGRP 100, my keys. And we're going to lose that adjacency. So now the only thing we should have is through our F00. 00 actually came back up, which is kind of odd. Keychain changed. Is that new adjacency? That should not be up. If one side has the key and the other one does not, it should not accept anything from that other side. Unless I configured this ahead of time. If that's the case, I'll feel kind of dumb. No keychains. Interesting. Interesting. Let me try one more thing real quick. F00, IP authentication, keychain, EIGRP 100, my keys. Did I actually do the other interface? F00. Authentication. I think I might have missed this on the other one. Authentication mode EIGRP 100 MD5. Mode change. There we go. I'm a dummy. So at S00, we had to do our IP authentication mode EIGRP 100 MD5. Yeah, there we go. It is down. That's what I was looking for. So because I didn't set the authentication mode to the MD5, it wasn't doing the key. I had only generated keys. So yeah, I'm a dummy. Alright. Now that's what we expected. So do show EIGRP 100 neighbors. Do show IP EIGRP 100 neighbors. We got nothing. That's what we want. So now, anything that does not have this key, they do not get to form an adjacency. So let's go over to router 1. Interface S00. Let's do IP authentication. Keychain. EIGRP 100. My keys. And now it says up new adjacency. Retry limit exceeded. So because the authentication mode isn't set, it's going to kind of screw up here. So IP authentication. God, I cannot type. I need another beer. Authentication mode EIGRP 100 MD5. And that should fix that. And authentication mode changed. And it should come up any second. Authentication keychain. EIGRP 100. My keys. IP authentication mode. EIGRP 100 MD5. And we do the same thing for F00. IP authentication keychains. EIGRP 100. My keys. And 01. I do S00. Yeah, so we got 0001 and F00. Do show IP EIGRP 100 neighbors. Still nothing yet. Looking through my notes here, see what I may be missing. Oh yeah. I haven't generated a keychain because, again, I'm a dummy. We have to generate a keychain. Keychain. My keys. Key 1. Key string. I am dumb. I missed this. Nah, that's too long of a key. Cisco keys. Alright, router 2. Now we gotta go to router 1, do the same thing. So we do a keychain my keys. That's what I was naming it. My keys. Key 1. Key string Cisco keys. So what did I name that one? Cisco keys. Now we got adjacencies. There we go. It's amazing what happens when you actually have the keys instead of thinking you do. I only had the key ring, not the keys that went on it. It's amazing how that works. And you still get authentication failures over here because there's nothing configured. So we need to do copy, raise that 0. Nah, almost did it again. We have to do key chain my keys, key 1, key string, Cisco keys. And then now we can go to our interfaces. Keychain, EIGRP 100, my keys, IP authentication, mode EIGRP 100 MD5. We should get a neighbor adjacency. Come on, meow. IP authentication, keychain EIGRP 100 my keys. EIGRP Authentication. Mode EIGRP 100 MD5. And 000. Keychain. 100 my keys. And the authentication mode EIGRP 185. And as I'm looking up, I am realizing what I did. I do see it's EIGRP 10. So let's fix that. We have an adjacency there, non S01. Let's go back to IP authentication mode EIGRP 100 MD5. There we go. And did S00 come up? Keys, 185. That should have came up. I am not seeing the relationship. Show IP 100 neighbors. Do not see it on S00, which was going to S01. On router 1. Did set that up over here, correct? Where am I at? 01. HTTP 100 my keys, 155. Okay. That isn't alright. 16.13.0. Aha! There's no neighborship there. Alright. Thought that was in there already, so that was my mistake when I started this lab. So you get to get a little bit of T-shoot in here as well as this CCNP route. Sometimes I rush through and get things trying to set up so I can record a video and I don't have all the configs in there, and then I have to go back through and look it over and see what I missed. It's 16.13.0. Yeah. 0.0.7. Go to router 3. Router EIGRP 100. I'm sure it's probably not on here either, because otherwise it would have came up by now. So let's do network 172.16.13.0. And neighbors. 01 00. Up, 13.3. We got an up down. Hey. What would be causing our up down? Clock rate 6400. So let's see if we can compare those two. Now it's S01. Alright, so 13.1, 13.3, instrument 100 MD5, 100 MD5, my keys, yeah, that'll do it every time. Config can be completely right until you have a shutdown on the port. No shut. Alright. So there was a couple things on it. So apparently I completely overlooked that link. It was down and I did not have it advertised in EIGRP. So there was 2 issues with that. So just because you do one thing on there, it doesn't necessarily mean it's always going to come back up. Alright. So now we have an adjacency. So we should be good there. And because we have an adjacency, that also means the authentication is working. So we kind of kill a whole bunch of birds with one stone there. So now that is all up. So we have authentication running throughout. We have our timers are back to the way they were. And one thing I did notice you can play with, obviously not production, but if you start messing around with the hello timers, if you change them on if you change the hold time on, say, like router 1, and you do a show IP EIGRP neighbors on, say, like router 2, and those are still running the default, it'll show the hold time of the other router, so you actually won't lose your neighbor adjacency. I know kind of going back and forth between the timer over to authentication back to timer, but something I just happened to think of. So let's say T, and we'll do let's do our interface as 00 on here. IP hello interval EIGRP 100. Let's change this to let's change it to 10 seconds. We'll do IP hold time EIGRP 100. Let's change this to 45. And so now if we go over and look at this, really we can even change it. Let's do something else. Something that would theoretically cause the, well, 10, 20, 30, yeah. So in theory, 3 hellos will go out in 30 seconds, and this is set to 45 seconds, so it should kind of die after that. So let's look at show IP EIGRP 100 neighbors. So that's saying that it's a 40, say roughly a 45-second timer. This obviously just refreshed a second ago. So now it's going to be counting down 39, 37. So it's just showing that the whole timer is 45 seconds. And as you notice, there hasn't been any neighbor adjacencies dropping, even though the whole timers and hello timers are different between router 1 and router 2. And this is set to 10 seconds, so 10, 20, 30. And this hasn't dropped out yet. Actually, it's 15 seconds, so we can even do conf time IP. Oh, interface S00, IP hold time EIGRP 100. Say we'll make that 45 seconds. The reason I kind of went back is I have the lab book in front of me and kind of going through it, and the timer stuff is actually the second part of the lab, and the authentication is the first part of it. But I wanted to start with the authentication second, just because I kind of want to play around with these timers. Because just the case point I was making about Cisco possibly putting these on the T-shoot exam. And while I'm waiting on this, we'll see if this ever loses an adjacency. Not many people have seen the new Cisco exams yet for CCNP because it's fairly new. They started in January 2015 with the new exams. Actually, I guess it was late January. It was like January 31st was the last day. But anyway, they moved over to these new tests, and for some reason Cisco decided to do this and didn't release the books in the lab book, any sort of study material ahead of time. So I'm still waiting on my lab book, and I ordered it over a month ago. And here it is. It is now June 4th, date of this video, and I haven't received my lab book yet because it was pre-order. So I think I'm not even supposed to receive it until I believe like another week from now. So in theory, if I was new to studying for CCNP route, I wouldn't be able to take any tests. I would have to either kind of wing it and try using the old 642-802 lab book and old books from that, and hope that they didn't change a whole lot. Or I have to wait until the middle of the summer before I can take CCNP route, even though this test has been, theoretically able to be taken since late January, early February. So I think that was kind of a dumb thing Cisco did, in my opinion. I mean, why release a test and not release the study materials ahead of time for it so you can prepare, so as soon as it's ready, you can go out and take the test. So that's kind of the predicament I was in. Is I've studied for the 642-802, but I didn't know what they were going to change, and I was at the point where I thought I was almost ready to take the 642-802, but I was at that deadline, and I didn't want to just try to rush myself and get in there, because how it goes. If you rush yourself, you usually end up failing because you're not sure if you're ready, and you kind of go in there and do it anyway, and then nerves get the best of you and all that stuff because you're nervous and not thinking you're ready. So the 300-101 came out, and I did get my actual big, thick, huge book that you have to have 3 strong men and a midget to be able to carry around. And that one, it seems like the main differences I've seen with the 642-802 to 300-101 is actually kind of nice, really. And I notice here the side note, the timers haven't really changed anything because the whole time is showing up on this side, and vice versa. They're not going to lose their adjacency here. So I just want the side thing I was showing there. Anyway, the nice. The IPv6 used to be in its own separate chapter in the book and also in the lab manual. Now they have actually spread that out throughout the book and the lab manual into its actual individual routing protocols. So as you're reading about EIGRP, it's going to talk about the things with EIGRP and their timers and how it works over NBMA and dealing with MPLS. And then it starts talking about the IPv6 part of it, about how it's similar to EIGRP v4, we'll call it, in certain instances. And so it's really nice because you're not going to sit there and go through all the routing protocols, EIGRP, OSPF, and BGP, and then dealing with route manipulation, redistribution, and then jumping in IPv6 and then going back to basic EIGRP configuration for IPv6. So it's all kind of spread out per routing protocol, so it's kind of nice. So I think that was a good job by Cisco. So anyway, so that's basically what I have for this one. So I hope you enjoyed. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and have a good day.